it gives somewhere a pathway of understanding, hey, you can't stop. You can't stop learning.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
Learning is a situation that you need, and you have to always expect more, because I've only had 2 jobs in my life.
Oh, wow.
Only 2. And one is being a UDT SEAL, and the next one is air traffic controller. And I went from abusing me physically to messing with my mind. So I went from being wet and always cold, always on the go, to sitting in a building getting paid well. And that was a challenge too, because I was the only black in the tower. So, you know, I've always gone where you tell me I can't go.
Because the military was much different then.
Yeah.
You know, when we're talking about even all the way down to the culture, right? The culture.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you know, having respect for a fellow leader, you know, but then we've heard stories on many occasions that if you don't have, even if you didn't respect a leader, there were multiple occasions that leader was going to make you respect them.
Yeah.
You know, and regardless of how that worked, whether if it was hazing, harassment, even physical altercations, this stuff happened, I'm sure, on a regular basis throughout your time, right?
Yeah, it did. Well, with me, with the regular Navy, no.
Got it.
It was more or less in the team itself, because respect was demanded. You know, I mean this, and I hate saying it, white boy. We fought until we were like on our knees looking at each other. And he didn't like me. He was from a small town in South Carolina where his daddy was the mayor and all this other stuff. And we fought.
Yeah, I'm
We
sure
really
regularly,
fought.
just
Yeah.
going back and forth. Yeah,
Back
because you
and
guys are in
forth.
such close quarters all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And finally, his sister came up, and this is bad. His sister came up, and one day when just before we, you know, went out to have roll call and stuff, he looked at me, he said, I don't know what my sister likes in you, but you know, she says you're handsome. I said, she got good taste. And I went out and we started fighting again, you know. So it was comical, and when we finally settled down, he invited me to his home in South Carolina. We had a good time, and then I found out when you're in New York, you are surrounded by us. As soon as you leave New York, you find out it's not like that. And that's what I experienced, you know, how to deal with other nationalities and stuff like that. In New York, I go down to the corner pizzeria shop, to Mama's place. She knew exactly what type of pizza I wanted.
Yeah.
In the Navy, I found out that it's not like that.
Yeah.
Especially in Virginia.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I'm just sure is that plucking you out of there and putting you in this a melting pot of the rest of the world. I mean, it's a culture shock. Right? When we talk about a culture shock, I think a lot of people think it of in a negative aspect, but I think it's also positive.
It's very positive.
Yeah,
very positive. I've eaten at places that you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
You know, and back to my little general, she every month as I was growing up, we would go out to a different restaurant. I was eating with chopsticks at 10, you know, and people didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But when we went to Japan, I was part of the culture, you know, and most of the guys was like, Chuck, where'd you learn this from? And I had to say my mom taught me, you know.
yeah. And then just grabbing that, right? Grabbing that small piece of cultural influence, and then being able to have an open mind. Because I think sometimes, I think we don't talk about this enough, is the culture shock and how some are unwilling to change for other cultures.
Right.
And I think it's very important that we talk about being able to take some of that on in our lives, gives us the opportunity to be able to open our minds, right? By having the viability and the availability to open your minds, it gives you a little bit more mental elevation, right?
Yeah, because like when I went to France, now we're talking about each platoon is 15.
Yeah.
So I got my other teammates were like from the Deep South.
Yeah.
You know, big boys.
Big guy, yeah.
Big white boys.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember this one guy, Wayne Shield, he was about 6'5", 6'4", like a rock. But he spoke French like a dummy. And he would say, parlez-vous français? But he would say it in such a southern drawl and no accent, nothing. And I come along, and it was like the restaurant. Say, for instance, we were in a restaurant. They would stand there and laugh at me.
Oh, wow.
And turn around and talk to me in English. And then when they weren't there, say it like this. And I could parlez-vous français un petit peu with the accent. They would parlez-vous in like a deep southern, no try, nothing. So 9 times out of 10, they didn't get anything that they wanted. I got what I wanted because I tried to put the accent gros on the words. I tried to sound like I was French.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a culture shock because I could go in places and try my French, try my Spanish. And because I tried it with the right tone, people would open up and talk to me.
Just respecting their culture and being able to have that mutual respect, because unity it will definitely get you more. Get you further, right?
Oh yeah.
And just again having those manners to be able to say, hey, I'm trying.
I'm trying. I got a little something for you, you know?
Yeah.
I always went to places where they told us not to go. And the reason why I did it was because half the platoon would be in jail, but before the night was out, because they went to other places. And I come strolling in, and Chief was always up, looking for me to come in by myself. Never at a jail. You know?
Wow.
So he said, how do you get away with stuff like this? I said, I go to the places you tell me not to go, and I have a good time. You telling these guys not to go there, then they're gonna go where everybody else is, and they're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
They're gonna go to jail, they're gonna fight, they're gonna do this. Meanwhile, I'm having a good meal, learning new languages, you know.
I definitely think, there's a lot of things to unpack there, and I definitely want to make sure we talk about that transition into the civilian life, right? Because that was, again, impinging on that moment of your military service, but now we're going to go ahead and fold through civilian life, and we're going to do that here shortly in another segment, okay?
Okay.